If you're listening slash watching this, Tasha's visiting home. There is a barking dog, and we just ask you guys to just be patient. There's nothing she can do about it. She's muting her mic as much as she can, but like obviously we need to discuss with her. And I personally don't give a shit if there's a barking dog in the background, and neither should you, but less so because this is our book club, not yours. Sorry, you're just like está coladito. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments. But anyway, hello internet. Welcome to Only Lovers Book Club, where I get together with my dance crew and talk about a romance book that one of us chose. This past month was Tashai's pick, and it had a dance theme. So if you are listening, pause and come over to YouTube or our Instagram so you can check out our cute little outfits. I got this leotard, which I remember is a leotard, not a bathing suit, and it's got like these cute little sequin poofy sleeves. Drea is wearing a risque flapper dress. Shows a lot of movement. Oh! And Tashai is wearing her judge's robe, judging us all on our terrible technique. If you are on YouTube and you're watching this, then you have seen Indy just for a quick glimpse. You know, another unofficial member of Only Lovers. Oh, here we go. There's Indy. And yeah, we're all kind of like in our dressy outfits, except for Indy, who is in recovery. He will be back on his dancing feet in no time, because the book that Tashai chose for us is dance themed. It's Take the Lead by Alexis Daria, or Alexis Daria for you Americans out there. Let me read the book description so you know a little bit of what we're talking about. The first book in a sizzling duology about dancers who find love from #own voices, Alexis Daria. Gina Morales wants to win. It's her 5th season on The Dance Off, a top-rated network TV celebrity dance competition, and she's never even made it to the finals. When she meets her latest partner, she sees her chance. He's handsome, rippling with muscles, and he stars on the popular Alaskan wilderness show Living Wild. With his sexy physique and name recognition, she thinks he's her ticket to the finals, until she realizes they're being set up. Stone Nielsen hates Los Angeles, hates reality TV, and he hates the fact that he had to join the cast of The Dance Off because of family obligations. He can't wait to get back to Alaska, but he also can't deny his growing attraction to his bubbly Puerto Rican dance partner. Neither of them are looking for romantic entanglements, and Stone can't risk revealing his secrets. But as they heat up the dance floor, it's only a matter of time until he feels an overwhelming urge to take the lead. When the tabloids catch on to their developing romance, the spotlight threatens to ruin not just their relationship, but their careers and their shot at the trophy. Gina and Stone will have to decide if their priorities lie with fame, fortune, or a chance at a future together. I mean, I read that. And let me tell you a little bit about our author, Alexis, our own #own voices author, Alexis Daria. So it says in her website, alexisdaria.com/about/bio. Alexis Daria writes stories about successful Latinx characters and their occasionally messy familias. Her debut, Take the Lead, won the 2018 Rita Award for Best First Book. And her latest release, which listeners might recognize more, is You Had Me at Hola, is a national bestseller, Target Diverse Book Club pick, and New York Times Editor's Choice pick. Alexis is a lifelong New Yorker who loves Broadway musicals and pizza. So, Tosh, what made you pick this book? I know that it was like an internal recommendation, but like what kind of set you over the edge? And I guess we can also talk about why you liked it too, Drea.
Okay, so initially I picked a different book that I found through Goodreads and read that book in like a day and a half because it was really short, and I did not like it. I'm not going to name names, but I just didn't want us to waste a book club because we only get one of these a month on a book that upset me from like the first page. Just the writing was not up to par. So I was trying to figure out what to read, and in having conversations with like Andre and Chris about what we were reading and all that stuff and what had been going on recently, Take the Lead came up, and I am a huge fan of dance movies. Like, I'm talking Save the Last Dance, for whatever's worth. The Julia Stiles dancing in the movie, it's fine. Magic Mike, Take the Lead, like all of these Jenna Dewan dance movies, Dirty Dancing. All of these are like my jam. Like, in my mind, had my parents had the kind of money that could have afforded me a dancing training in my youth, I could have been Jenna Dewan, okay? Like, could have been me.
I want to add a personal anecdote here as someone who grew up with Tosh. I just want you guys to know that whenever a dance movie would come out, we would have to go to the movies to watch it. And what's the Channing Tatum movie called?
Step Up.
When the first Step Up came out, they did not bring it to the theater that was closest to us. And then we had to drive an hour to like Canolanas or Carolina and watch it, only to have it be really blurry. And it was a very upsetting evening.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, the focus was off the entire time. Oh my God. I blacked this out. I think I repressed this memory.
Yeah, Tasha was really upset. But all this to say that, yes, first of all, I mean, I might be like biased, but I think she's a fantastic dancer. And had she like gone for it, I know she would be like literally this person that we read in the book. But yeah, also like
I think people should get hype because soon we will be watching a new Tosh dance movie together, and we will probably do some sort of short video or something about it because we're all three of us watching, and it's gonna be great. I'm very excited.
I'm gonna hype myself up again just to be like, y'all don't know this about me, internet, but I've won a lot of dance-offs. Ignore the dog in the background, Jesus Christ. But I've gone to bars and drunk danced off against strangers and gotten like claps.
Listen, I believe. So I decided to read this book because on Instagram someone compared it to Dirty Dancing, and I, like Tosh, really like dancing movies and dancing shows. And so I looked it up, and it seemed like it was what's that show called? Dancing with the Stars, but with like a romance. And romances happened in that show too. Like, there was always some gossip about like who was hooking up with who. So I was like, yes, I'm here for like all the details of this romance. That was part one. Part two was the minute I noticed that the guy was from Alaska and was a wilderness survivalist. Because if you know me by now, you know that my biggest dream is to run away to Alaska. Whenever I'm too anxious or too depressed, I will literally tell everyone like, okay, I'm moving to Alaska. Like, tomorrow I'll start researching like teaching jobs, because those like schools in the bush in Alaska, they pay a ton because nobody wants to work at a school where you have to take a tiny bush plane for like 30 minutes over the mountains in like -degree weather to like teach every single day, right? And especially too because these kids like speak other languages, so it's like really hard, but they pay a lot. And I research this at least like 10 times a year, probably.
Do it.
So anyway, I was really excited to see that he was from Alaska. And then also, I guess that she was Puerto Rican, but I have very low expectations for Puerto Ricans in books, so that didn't play as much of a part in it. Although I was pleasantly surprised. I liked the character here. It wasn't, we didn't have any like familia dinners. Like
oh my God, I was waiting for a familia dinner. I'm like, let's see.
I just thought it was really fun. It was really cute. It was un merenguito, but just very fun, very easy for me to picture in my head. Like, ooh, now they're practicing like this dance, and now they're doing this. So I remember like I was reading it at Chris's house. We were doing like a mini readathon together, and I read like the first chapter or two, and then I turned to Chris and I was like, Mano, I wish this was an OLL book. Like, we would have so much fun discussing this. And
look at us now. Look at us now. So are you okay with that being your first impression? Because I feel like, your overall impressions of the book.
No, sure.
So Drea, by default, gets gold because she read this before we picked it, but very close to us picking it. Like she finished it, and then we kind of like made it our official pick. And so
I didn't have to reread it. It was very.
It falls within the threshold of reading window for you to get the gold. Chris was like, does this count? I'm like, Tina, sí, it counts. It's literally like the next day I said, oh, we should pick the book.
I was like, Chris wanted to get gold for Cinnamon and Gunpowder for reading it like a decade before I read it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we're like, you don't remember what this book is, so you have to reread it. That's like me being like, yeah, Clan of the Cave Bear.
I remember Clan of the Cave Bear.
I don't remember chapter 4 of Clan of the Cave Bear.
I don't remember chapter 4. I know the gist of it. Okay, fine. You've made your point. So yeah, Drea gets gold, Tosh gets silver, and then I get bronze because I finished it 2 hours ago. And it's not a long book. It's very short. It reads very quickly. There's just a lot of stuff happening this week, and I knew I couldn't put it off. It's like I was like peak procrastinator. I'm like, I'll finish it before the hangout, period. So I knew this was gonna be fun. I really enjoyed this book. It was cute. I liked both of the main characters, which is very surprising because either I think the girl is stupid or I think the boy is stupid. And I think that they were both the right amount of like not stupid, that I was like, okay, I can see this. I can see who this is, and I can see what they're doing, what they're going for. Man, I really liked the dance scenes, and I would get really upset if I was upset. I think for the first few, I think that the first dance scene, like description we get is like the tango or something. But for the first few, I think we just cut to like right before the dance, and then oh my god, it was over before he realized it, and I was like, hey, I was like, give me the dance. And I will say that there is like sexo salvaje in this book. It's just like very and just so much, so intenso. Like these guys are porn stars, basically, porn star level. And here's I guess why I wanted the dance moves to be like shown at the beginning, because everybody knows, I mean, at least everybody in Christina's world, as in Christina's like vagina world, knows that like the first time you're having sexy times isn't always like the most graceful, or like it's like sometimes it's awkward because it's like the first time you're like meeting a person's body. And so I know they give Stone a lot of slack for like, oh, he's so big, but he's so graceful. Like that's what they say about like The Rock in like movies. Like he's like a huge football player, but like he's so graceful, OMG. So I kind of wanted them to be a little bit more fumbly in the beginning, and then like, you know, and then that really explosive first sex scene would have been like, oh, it makes sense because they've like literally just, you know, you get it. But I would have liked that first like clumsy, oh, he stepped on my toes type thing. I think that would have been cute, but I get it's fine. He's good at everything. Anyway, so yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm looking forward to discussing it and hearing Drea talk about it. I too had very low expectations for Puerto Rican representation in the book. I thought it was pretty good. At least the code switching was grammatical and not distracting, not overused. And I think that the things that Gina is concerned about are valid as a woman and a Latinx woman interested in making it big in the entertainment industry.
But you know what? I also really appreciated that then her best friend, who is also Puerto Rican, has like a completely different mindset. Because the second book is about her. So I like that we have like two Puerto Rican ladies, you know, in the same scenario, both have completely different views on, you know, how they want to get to where they're going to get in their career. So I appreciated that too, that it wasn't like her way is the only right way. It was like, these are her values, but also like her friend has different values, and it's okay. And they respect each other's values.
So cool. Yeah.
I want to read the book for obvious reasons.
So yeah, those are my thoughts. And then Tasha, you can give us yours, and then I assume you have some questions for us to dive in.
I gave this book 4 stars because I enjoyed this book more because I had just finished reading You Had Me at Hola, which is the other book that she wrote. And I picked Take the Lead because Andrea recommended it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, this sounds fun. Not realizing it was the same author. And so I start reading. I read You Had Me at Hola. I'm like, yay, la, la, la. This is so cute. I love it. Telenovelas. Oh, my God. Like, the code switching. This is so fun. Like, I'm having such a good time reading this. And then I start reading Take the Lead. And I'm like, wow, this writing seems so familiar. And then I checked. And I was like, no, duh, you dumbass. It's the same author. Jesus Christ. Okay. So then with that in mind, the writing style made a lot more sense to me. And so things that might have otherwise been a little like pet peevy, I kind of was just like chill with it because I knew it was her way of just like writing out the characters. I love the concept. I like the idea of this like Puerto Rican girl who's trying to make it big, getting set up with this like wilderness guy. I sent a photo to you guys, internet. I sent a photo to Christina and Andrea of who I would have cast for Stone because as soon as they described him, I knew in my mind I was picturing this guy who's like a YouTuber, like fitness guy. I think his name is like Brock or something. I forget, but he's like
Brock?
6'5", like 10-pack, long blonde hair, light eyes, like the same, like cut from the same cloth. And so when I was reading this book, I already had that dude in mind. So I was having a good time.
I'm gonna just flash it on my screen.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's who I was picturing. And I think for once, I don't have a problem with this casting. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's basically who I pictured you.
Dude, yeah. And he's like 6'5" too. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is a full like functioning human taller than me. Like that's the size of a healthy child. Of height difference.
You sent another picture. Hold on, I'm just gonna flash that.
Yeah, with the sweatpants.
With the sweatpants and the abs and the man bun.
Man bun, yeah.
It fits like this is how I can picture Stone in like his hotel room.
Yeah, or like about to do a dance number practice. But no, I liked the idea of it. I liked the build of chemistry. Like it really does start off as this like physical thing that then evolves into them kind of getting to know each other more. I made notes as I was reading because I did think, and this is just because I'm obviously more a Natasha than I am a Gina. I thought that the weight put on the idea of them possibly hooking up was kind of overblown at one point because being someone that watches these dancing contests and watches reality TV and watches all these kinds of shows, me as an audience member, I'm not gonna think less of a dancer if they're hooking up with another dancer. Like that's just, you're living your life. That has nothing to do with how you're dancing. Like I'm judging you as a performer, not as like what your private life is. So there was kind of a lot of emphasis put on that from her end, which like I understood to a degree. And then his whole drama made more sense to me because, spoiler alert for people who haven't read the book yet, because his whole family's like livelihood was depending on this like fake thing that they had constructed. So like that being exposed and costing them the show and stuff does seem to me like a bigger thing than people thinking these two might be hooking up. You know, they're it just, and I understand.
Also, she was like freaked out too that like she wanted to win it on her own. She was like, I don't want those extra votes because people are shipping me.
And I understand.
I know Chris is like, I would take the extra votes no matter.
Like, I understand the principle behind it, but he says it at one point too. Like, this is a popularity contest. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to charm people. Like, there's a reason she was being funny and cute and charming in her interviews. Like, if this was only based on dancing skills, they would not be doing any sort of interviews or promotions. They would only be doing the dance portions of it. But you're portraying a character, so like, I don't know. There was a lot of like weird perspective stuff going on that it made sense. Like I said, up to a point, like I understand it. I don't think that I would have been so like, oh my god, like especially with that as my dance partner, I'd be like, like,
yeah, I think the Tosh book it will be interesting to see. Because I don't know if
downloaded
you read the synopsis of it, but it's like her with that judge that she's like on, with the one she's like on and off with in the book.
You mean a Puerto Rican dancer and a European man?
Look, I downloaded it already. I already have it. It's ready to go. Chick, chick, pow.
Unofficial buddy read. I'm in. I'm in.
Let's do it.
I'll read it. But no, it was like really fun. I had a really fun time reading this book. I was like downloading music and like putting music on in the background as I was reading it. I, much like Chris, wish there had been more dance scenes. And as I was reading the book, I was curious as to how she would treat the dance scenes, because it's so hard to get it right, because it is such a physical, visual act that putting it into a book is hard. And so I think where she did put time into describing the dances, she did a good job. But I think where we didn't get the chance to see or experience the dancing, it's like, it felt kind of like a cop-out of like, I don't want to have to figure out how to write the technicality of this dancing. But because Stone comes from no dancing experience at all to like doing amazing, like I needed, that's the one thing I don't believe in this book, because I'm not getting enough dance growth explained to me.
Scenes.
Yeah, like I'm not seeing the moment where it like clicks to him and he's able to kind of understand it. In Gina's perspective, it's like, oh, he started leading. I'm like, he's not going to start leading after practicing for 4 weeks. Like he doesn't understand these dance techniques. I can't teach a baking class just because I make box cakes. Like there's a big difference there. And so I just wish there had been a couple of more, even if it was like a time lapse scene of like, as Stone and I practiced more and more, I saw him getting so much better. We tackled the blah, blah, blah. And he did this and adjusted his body this way, which like, then he brought to the bedroom and like, now, and that's how he learned. And I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. He learned how to point his toe from like fucking that one time. Cool. This makes sense.
Sorry.
So that was like those are like my couple of like little notes, but overall this is really fun. I would watch this show. Like I would watch this dance show. I would vote.
I would watch this movie 100%. I don't know why it hasn't been made yet. Like this is a classic dance movie right here.
Yeah. And I know there's already a movie called Take the Lead, but just call it Toma mi mano, and then you're good.
I think I'm out of the I just want to add here that I think I'm out of the loop of liking these kinds of shows. Like I have a hard time watching like live competition shows because I feel so much like cringe. I'm so worried about like who's gonna win. I can't handle the stress of it.
So Chris, were you like dying every time they showed like something embarrassing and then they had to like
yes
go dance?
The moment I stopped was when I took like the big break where I'm like, I need to stop right now. When she goes to his hotel room and spends the night, and then like the next day the paparazzi are there, and I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
See, I knew that was gonna happen though, because I'm like, they're staying the night. Immediately, they're gonna have to pay for this.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I enjoyed this book, and I don't want to say I'm not a fan of dancing shows, but it's not my.
But okay, you don't have to be to enjoy the book.
You don't have to be to enjoy it. It's not my entertainment of choice. I think that dance shows are amazing. I think that dancing is amazing, but it causes me too much stress not to know what's going to happen. So yeah, anything that's like American Idol or like Dancing with the Stars, I like watching the highlights on YouTube, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I'll let Daria catch me up on whatever is happening.
I think you just have too much empathy. You're like, I don't want this person to fail.
I want everyone to win.
Meanwhile, I'm like, he's gonna falter during this backflip. Wait, watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch cooking shows. I'll watch cooking competitions and like Great British Bake Off, and I don't
that
feel
will
like
still
that's
stress you out.
Yeah, and but that's like normal. Like I can handle that. I cannot. For some reason, this act of performing it, I feel like I really can't do it. And so.
Well,
I mean, and I'm like, show me the American Ninja Warrior, the like Ultimate Beast Master. Like, I'm here to see people like try to do things with their bodies.
Also, like with Bake Off, it's like, oh no, my pudding is lumpy. Whereas with a dance show, it's like, oh my god, they shattered their leg.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I like that we all have like different flavors of reality preference, and I like.
Oh well, I mean, my number one is definitely the dating.
Mm-hmm.
The like scandalous, terrible, cringy, like not like the good ones where like they're looking for love genuinely. Those are not. I watch like Love Island. Are You the One? Like that's the kind of shit. They put like 20 people on an island and see who pairs off. That's what I watch.
Which is the one where they were in the boxes?
Your boxes.
I think it's Are You the One? No, that's not it.
No. It's a Netflix one where they put them in the pods.
Oh, you told me to watch that one, but that was like too like slow and real for me.
Yeah, because no one could do it because they were trapped in different boxes.
And then I tried to watch this other one, where they like get matched. It's like an arranged Married at First Sight.
Oh god, no.
But I tried to watch it and I watched a few episodes and then I accidentally saw like a spoiler and it broke my heart so much that I like quit. I quit like halfway through and I've never like seen it. I was like, KK, all you had to do was be with this person for the 8 weeks of the show and you went and like fucking cheated on her like on TV multiple times. You couldn't like keep it in your pants for 8 weeks when you knew you were. And I got so upset. I was like, no puedo, goodbye, adios, never watching the show again.
Meanwhile, so Andrea's super into dating shows. Christina's super into baking shows. I'm super into home makeovers. So that's what I watch on the treadmill. Just, I'm like, oh no, are they going to be able to fix
and
then
they all come together on the ¿cómo que se llama? The Fabulous Five. Why am I blanking on their name? Yeah, on Queer Eye, you've got the home makeover, you've got always the baking and the food, and then like you've got either self-love or romantic love.
Yay!
Here for it.
I can't wait for the Texas season. Ya la están grabando.
Bobby's Instagram makes me so happy. Okay, I'm gonna pivot to questions.
Pivot. Okay.
Pivot. I'm pivoting to questions. These are in no particular order. So question number 1. Stereotypes. So stereotypes came up a few times, specifically with like Gina trying to really like fight against being boxed in as like a sexy, spicy, salacious Latina. But did this feel, because as I was reading the book, every now and then it kind of has language that feels to me like one of those very special episodes where you know they're talking to the audience and not to the other person in the scene. Mm-hmm. So did you feel like these felt like authentic conversations, or did it feel like you were being like talked at with regards to stereotyping?
Are you going first?
Yeah, I was like, I can go first. Mainly because I think you're going to make a more eloquent argument. I just want to get my dumbass comment out of the way. So yes, and I think I did notice that. The reason that I found it a little bit unrealistic and the way that it's discussed is I think that it's because Gina was the only one talking that way. And I think if this was going to be like a real portrayal of reality show, her producers, everyone would have been like, you got to kick up your spicy flavor. You know, I think that they definitely would have hit her with those words. And it almost made it seem like she was the only one that was worried about that and that no one else was thinking that. And I mean, that might have been on purpose, but it didn't feel realistic because that is definitely not how the entertainment industry works. Like, people are making strides so that this like perfect world where only Latinx people are worried about this, but no one else is even thinking about that, is presented. But I did think I'm like, there was a moment where I was like, girl, calm down. Like, you're the only one that's thinking about this. And then I was like, you're the only one that's thinking about this. And Donna pushing the showman's angle, I felt like I really think that she probably would have brought it up. And I guess Gina's concern is everyone, she wants to have a private life while having a very public life, and that's fair. But it did feel that way more so because no one else was participating in this conversation. It literally was just Gina worried about it. So that's why I feel that way. But I'm happy that it was brought up. I think it's very valid. And I think that if you're, I don't know, living under a rock, you might not know, the kind of pressure that, people are under when they feel like they have to represent a whole fucking identity. So I get that, but I also was like, how come all these other Americans aren't talking this way? Like, how are all these people just not mentioning this? Like, right? Isn't like Hollywood like a sleazy, terrible place? I don't know. So those are my 2 cents when it comes to talking about stereotypes in this book.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think, like, for me, I think, like, I get the message that the author was trying to say, but I think the message would have been stronger if she was in a different career. Like, for me, it felt like every woman who participates in this kind of industry is sexualized, and like, it's all about like your looks and like all these things. Like, I didn't think like she necessarily had to deal with it more than all the other female contestants on this show. Like, I felt like they were probably all in the same boat in that they were all expected to wear these like skimpy little bikini outfit things when they dance, and they were all expected to make sexy dances, and everyone was matched with an opposite sex partner. So like, clearly the sexual chemistry was like an expectation.
When are we going to get the gay dance show? That's what I want to know.
So like, I thought that like all of them were probably on that same boat. And I think, and maybe this is like I'm not saying that her message is wrong or anything like that, but I almost felt like she was like making herself be like the other woman who's like different from all the other girls on the show, and that like, I specifically have to worry about this, and I specifically have to not do this because I'm like Puerto Rican, when probably all of the other girls on the show were like worried about the same things and like kind of going through the same things. And so I think it could have turned into more of like an industry critique or like an industry message rather than just making it specifically a Latina message, just because of the job she had. That was like my only, like, I didn't have a problem with like, but I just wish she had kind of realized more like it's a problem with the dance industry in general and like reality TV in general. And yeah. And I think because of what you said, Chris, like nobody else seemed to be talking about her in that way either. And that made me think more than like, they didn't care like who the girl was. Like all of the girls had the same like expectation like put on them. And I think too, because they're all dancing all the dances. So like, it's not like she's the only one dancing salsa. You know what I mean? Like everybody's dancing salsa.
Yeah, but you know what I pictured like before, like her interview segments, like they definitely had the guitar going, and like that's when she was.
They didn't say that though. So
no,
that's why like, you know, like and you're right. If they had done stuff like that more, then like I could have seen it more. But like I didn't see anyone kind of do that. And I think it's because like, to be perfectly honest, if she didn't say anything, probably nobody would have known she was Puerto Rican anyways, because it's not like everybody's tanned in those shows. They literally all get spray tan. So they were probably all equal amounts of tan. You know, she doesn't speak Spanish. She only knows like a few words. So English is like her main language, you know. So I don't know. She can probably pass is what I'm saying. So I think like she was more preoccupied about this than like other people.
It would be a different conversation if she were the only Puerto Rican in the cast who was being put into some sort of showmance. but they had also approached Natasha about the same thing and Lauren about the same thing.
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm
Natasha
saying.
was already
all
hooking
of
up
the
with someone
girls,
else. Like,
yeah, like all of the girls are being asked the same thing, and I believe it too. Like the way, I mean, I've seen those shows. Like they're all expected to, you know, kind of be like
put some
that. So,
sizzle.
yeah.
Very good points, you guys. Very good points. I actually have a pivot question. I'm going to skip the other one that I had because, speaking of Donna, oh, problematic Donna. I don't know how she hasn't been slapped with a sexual harassment lawsuit yet. So I wrote, Gina finds herself having to manage a producer who keeps forcing her into very sexual situations that are like above and beyond what the dance situation in and of itself would have brought out. Given her current climate on the treatment of sexual harassment, do you think this sort of scenario would have played itself out as like passively or casually as it was happening in this book? Because it does seem like nobody was intervening with Donna trying to like push a dick into this woman's like.
I do think it would have happened exactly like that, because then what's your option? It's like you can absolutely do the sexual harassment thing. Then you will never be in a dancing show ever again, because you'll get like blacklisted or whatever the term is when they like tell all their friends like not to hire you. Because again, I think that is the expectation. Like nobody, you know, saw anything wrong with it. And it's not like they told her, you have to. They were just like, are you sure you don't want to do this? Because this could get you votes. And if you get into the finals, then your contract would be renewed. But, you know, just a suggestion. So, but yeah, no, I could absolutely 100% see this playing out exactly like this, and nobody like saying anything other than like, Mano, that sucks. Yeah, like I've been there. Like that's a shitty boss to have, but like nobody actually doing anything.
Yeah, I think it's like, yeah, I agree with Daria's points. This is like exactly the kind of like sleazy producer that I, that is portrayed, and I think that is portrayed this way, and for this reason, like it's stereotypes or cliches are true because cliches work because they're true.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a different story if Donna had been a male character, and then there would have been some like Me Too-ishness to it.
I mean, but it's still very problematic, even though Donna is a woman. I think it has to be a woman in order for it to even slightly be something that can happen without people intervening more. Like you have other characters, basically once they get popular, they're like, I don't want to work with Donna anymore. Like if that's something that's happening repeatedly, Donna wouldn't have a job. Like I don't think that her worth is enough to keep her on if she's getting repeated like harassment claims. So I think it's interesting framing it in the perspective of like, I'm being harassed by a woman, which makes it okay enough, but it's still like, it's not okay. I don't think that.
Yeah, but I think what you said is like, you're right. If she had enough harassment things, she wouldn't work again, but that would entail all these people speaking up, and people don't speak up. Like that's
it's almost like a given.
Yeah, in anything, like nobody speaks up because they don't want to like take the risk of nobody else speaking up, and then you're the only one who spoke up, and then you have to face like the repercussions of that. So I feel like, you know what I mean? Unless they form like a little union and all the dancers were like, all of us are gonna speak up.
She said the U word. She said the U word.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like every time me and my coworkers are in a group chat, we're like, we should form a union.
Okay, so and just quick question: are we gonna talk about like Lauren and harassment?
Okay.
Okay.
I
definitely wanna. I need to talk about this.
I only have two
Lauren,
questions about Lauren. I started as I was reading the book, I started writing just questions. And I was writing my questions and I put, why is Lauren such a bitch? And then I wrote parenthesis ice skater to remind myself, kept reading the book, forgot I ever wrote that question. And then I wrote, why is Lauren do we usually say the C word on these book clubs?
We could.
Hunt. I was like, why is Lauren such a bitch? And then like 6 questions later, I was like, God, why is Lauren such a hunt?
We could just say bunt, and that's like a bunt.
Why is she such a punt?
Why is she such a punt? Her character is just terrible. Like she's just a terrible person who's like constantly sexually harassing everybody and blackmailing everybody. Like, why is she doing this? Is it because she didn't get a gold medal? She had such a narrow, transparent, like there was so little character development there that I'm just like, I don't need her in this at all.
Yeah, I did not enjoy reading any of that, any of Lauren's interactions. I mean, I know why she's there. Like every show needs its like Sharpay. every like we need our mean girl to like stir things up. I mean, if we must. And so she was definitely like playing into that role really hardcore. I guess my issue isn't necessarily with the character. Well, it is with the character, but it's like I think with the way that the author handled not just how Lauren treated Stone, but also how the author treated Stone, period. So it's one of those things where we want a world where women aren't like objectified and like sexualized. So is the answer to objectify and sexualize men in the same way? And I was, I really was like, I didn't, here's the thing for like us regular people, this book made me feel like I was not attractive, period. I mean, I know dancers are hot, have like amazing physiques, like they're using their whole body. I mean, and my soft little dumpling ass is not gonna like compete. But I did think that like the focus on how hot Stone was, and then having him be like agredido by Lauren and then just kind of like brushed off. Like I was mad that Gina never fucking said anything to Lauren, even just to like on a basic human level, like, hey, don't fucking touch his ass. Like don't feel him up, you fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? It was one of those things. I was mad.
And she's an ableist. She's like, Paralympic.
Yeah.
Yes, I hated that.
Yeah, and
like, what the fuck?
I just didn't enjoy any of that. Like I got it, within the first pages, Stone is hot. And then so he's so hot that he can't be respected. Like his body is not respected by this person. He's too hot that like Gina, his like partner, secret or otherwise, is not gonna stand up for him or say anything. Like it's one thing if like fine, Donna is in power, like in a position of power, but Lauren is just another competitor. And I just did not understand why me as a reader had to be subjected to that. Like, I think it was played for laughs and I didn't find it really funny. And that's, I guess, what I wanted to say about that.
I agree with that. I feel like because, again, Lauren is a woman, her character was given a little too much free reign to just be like the worst version of someone who is a really aggressive, sexually liberated person who also happens to just be bigoted. Like it was all kind of on a super intense level, and I feel like the excuse is, oh, she's a woman, so like it's different. It's not different. It's still harassment. It's still her being like an ableist for like against a competitor vocally. Like it's not even her having an aside conversation. It's her being blatantly bigoted in a lot of ways. And that's another thing where like I'm surprised no one would have brought it up and been like, hey, she like put her hand down Stone's pants and grabbed his dick and made some jokes.
I just would have beat her ass. I would have I would have absolutely done like the Tanya Harding, and I would have waited for her and hit her kneecaps with a baseball bat. And I'd be like, touch this now. That's what I'm saying. Like, fine. Like, maybe in the show, it's like, hey, that's show business. Okay, then I'm taking matters into my own hands because you got to respect my man. Those buns are mine. Hands off.
So we all agree she is trash.
Sucks. Fuck
right.
Lauren. Sorry.
So,
you bunt.
you bunt?
No, bunts are delicious.
She's an undercooked bunt.
Okay.
All right. So I also wrote, in your opinion, how big a deal do you think it actually would have been if Gina and Stone hooked up? and it came to light, because the book makes it seem like she would have like never had a job. Like she's going like worst case scenario on everything. And again, I feel like it wouldn't have been that big a deal.
I was in the camp of like, you guys should definitely be having sex day one, because that's probably what I would have done. And I would have been like, look, we have different goals, but like, I just think we're gonna dance better if we fuck right now.
I don't think it would have affected them like negatively in the moment anyways. Like I think people would have been obsessively reading like, you know, Us Weekly or whatever to like get the latest gossip and see the latest pictures, and then more people would have voted for them. I don't know how it would have affected Gina in the future. Like I don't know if that's something that people would have brought up, or that future partners might have that expectation of her. Like I don't know. But I think in terms of like this specific dance competition, I think it would have only benefited her just because of the kinds of people who watch these shows. Like if I found out that like two people were having a relationship, even if they weren't my favorite dancers, even if they weren't my favorite couple, I would have been obsessively looking up like all of the stuff and then paying extra attention to their dances and being like, oh, esa química, you know, so natural. It's good. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree, especially because it's not like, so her trauma is from like, oh, I dated this like dancer that I worked with. That was not on this show. Like no one knows this information but you. You have not had any sort of relationship with any partner on this show. Meanwhile, people know that other partners have hooked up. So like, I really don't think that you would just like never work again. If anything,
other contestants were fucking with you.
They were fucking the judges.
That's why I want to read Natasha's book.
I want to see Dimitri's moves.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember the synopsis exactly, but it's something like, for some reason, Natasha has to like move in with him. Like briefly, like she loses her house or he loses her house or something, and they're like, bueno, I guess you can come stay with me for a little bit, I guess, since we're kind of fuck buddies. And then they're like living together, and it's like one of those situations.
There's only one bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we gonna talk about the sex scenes, or just curious?
Well, I was writing, how did you feel about the physical chemistry? Was it hot or not for you?
Oh God, please forgive
But
me.
there's a follow-up question.
Sexy.
Because
I wrote, y'all ate pernil and rice, and now you're gonna fuck.
Girl, that Puerto Rican food, it worked its magic on that white boy.
Listen, all I'm saying is all of these authors having, like, I'm still not over the taco scene. I'm really not. ¿Cómo que se llama el libro ese con los tacos?
The proposal of
the
God.
Proposal.
Yeah.
I'm still not over all of that taco eating, and it's like the same thing. I don't understand.
He had 3 plates of food.
I don't know if it's that like they haven't actually tried to do that themselves. Like if they haven't tried, so they don't understand like how your stomach feels. They're just going by the whole like, I'm sharing my heritage via food with you, and that makes the food extra sexy. And so now we're gonna have like explosive sex. Like I think that's how like, they're going, but they don't understand that like.
Nah, no. Dude. I just ate half a pound of roast fat. Don't fucking touch me for 2 minutes. I need to sweat this out.
If anyone's listening and has made it this far, have you ever fucked on a full stomach of pork? I just am curious how that went for you. Here's how I'm gonna say it.
A full stomach of anything, porque, o sea, it could be anything. You feel like bloated, you know, you're tired, you get sleepy.
But here's how I'm gonna
so much salt because in that food.
It didn't distract me too much because I'm like, you know what? They're like athletes / dancing, and so their metabolism is moving. So, see, because in the proposal, those were just 2 fucking normal people who probably jogged like 2 times a week. You know what I mean? But like Stone, as per our inspiration picture, is literally just like 0% body fat. And Gina is just like a little dancing like Tasmanian devil. And so
unless she had 1 piece of pernil and like half a cup of arroz con Gandule.
I'm just
Like,
saying, that's how I'm gonna spin it. Their metabolisms were ramped up.
But if
They were horny enough.
if they're working out, like I'm sure that like when she's in that show, she's not eating that every night because she's trying to eat like that, like whole food, like nothing processed, like gotta keep my, I mean, she's not even drinking alcohol, right? For that same reason, because she's like so focused. So I feel like if you're not usually eating pernil and rice and beans, and then all of a sudden you eat pernil and rice and beans, that's gonna hit you double.
y'all know.
And Stone is not, he's not Puerto Rican. He's not
he's
used
never
to
had that
eating
much spice in
beans.
his food. He's never had that much spice in his food.
When my boyfriend first moved in with me and he started eating beans regularly, that affected his bathroom regime. Like he was not used to eating all his rice and beans.
I'm gonna lose it.
He was constantly like, "Pero Andrea, like, how are you?" And I'm like, "Dude, because I've been eating beans every day of my life for like 30 years."
Obviously, most of my body is made up of rice and beans. If you cut me, it's gonna just be sazon leaking out of my blood, like in my veins.
I'm just saying, I think even Stone would have been affected. That's
but
Stone ate 3 plates of food, like en vida real.
They would have been having sex and he would have farted on her.
No, or he would have had 3 plates of food. She would have had half a pastel and some arroz con gandule, and then she would have like gone down on him because he would have been like, I can't move.
Mira, confession time. One time I did attempt to have relations with someone after I had cooked a really big meal, and we were halfway through and he had to ask me to stop because he said his stomach, like he was gonna puke if he kept going. I feel like that is the normal response. Like he was like, Mira, I think you're so sexy, but like I'm gonna puke.
I will also attest to a similar situation, having sexy times after a meal that wasn't even that heavy, by the way, and my partner asking to stop and then not being able to run away fast enough because they like had to fart. They had to like super fart and they didn't make it out of the room.
And I get why authors wouldn't want to include those kinds of scenes, which is why they should just omit the giant
It's going in my romance. It's just something like this is going in my romance novel. In my gay romance novel that I'm going to write, they're going to eat way too much food and start making out. And one of them's going to be like, I ate too much. This isn't
watch Netflix.
Can we just like lay down? And the other one's going to be like, oh my God, thank you. Yes. I agree. I'm just going to hug you and cup your breast while we watch the Queer Eye marathon.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was reading a tweet too that was recently like, me, please, I want us to stay in your arms all morning. Don't go to work. Just stay with me. Also me, please leave. I have to fart so bad.
Or that used to be a thing. When I was first dating my boof, I could not use the bathroom in his apartment. So I was like, oh my God,
I remember those chats. You would text us. You would be like, I don't want to leave.
I'm going to go home now. I'm going to miss you so much. Bye. Takes a giant poo. It's been 2 days.
Listen, okay. Okay. All this, the first time, unrealistic. The other times, they didn't mention any food, and I was into it. I was like, okay. Time for the sexo salvaje, and it was always like salvaje. It was never like.
I really liked their chemistry too. Like while they were practicing and dancing, you know, they would make like little comments like, "Uy, like he was really close," and I was like very aware of it. Like I believed all of that. Like I believed that they were dancing, and they were like, "I'm not gonna show it, but like you're making me wet right now." Like that's how they were both feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. His dick is just like,
yeah.
I loved how horny they were for each other. It just was they were just so horny for each other, and it didn't feel like too much. I like that there wasn't in a fade out after the first time. Like we got to, and it wasn't like too much, but we definitely got to see them have sexy times and have them grow from like, oh, I'm so horny for you to I'm really horny for you, but also like I kind of like you to also, I'm still really horny for you. I love you.
Good amount of liquids, not too much.
Yeah. Really hot, really steamy, and I think it did advance the plot in they were already being really physical with each other, but it added like an extra layer to their chemistry. Top notch.
All right. I'm gonna have two that I'm gonna turn into one. So I put, how did we feel about the like Alaskan family dynamic, and why couldn't they just do a fundraiser to pay for the surgery if they already had a TV show? Like, there were definitely ways to get around this Alaskan family drama.
Yeah, for real. Like, white people don't care. Like, they don't care about the truth either. Like, how many people watch Duck Dynasty and like actually believe that that's like how that works?
Yeah, but you know what? I get that they said like it was to like pay for the mom's medical bills or whatever. I believe that Stone believed that, but I don't believe that that was like the parents' true motive, because they kept filming stuff that, you know what I mean? They had kept like meshing the two shows and like wanting to film stuff for the show. So I believe that the parents were doing it just to advance their own like shows, and not necessarily for like the bill reason. I just think that that's like what they told Stone, because that's what would have like, you know what I mean? It's like, ay, bendito mijo, like do it for your mom, you know, like that's gonna get to him. But if they just say like, we think the show is gonna end soon and we're trying to form more connections so that we get a spin-off, like that's not gonna go over as well.
I also thought that there was something a little bit lacking there with how big of a deal, like how big of a deal it was. I know that Stone felt like really obligated to do this stuff for his parents, but like I felt like, yeah, your parents and your parents are like pieces of shit. Like your mom could have had a hip surgery, but like even like piece of shit people need surgery, it's fine. And I feel like I wish that he had not more of a fallout with his family, but like it was almost like,
it was resolved for him. He didn't have to be active. It was a passive resolution.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool, you know, whatever. This whole thing about the family, you know, needing him, and you know, she kind of just told him, and she wasn't even that upset about it. And I'm like, okay, this is the person who like chapter 2 is like, okay, remember, keep up appearances, don't fuck this up for us. You know how important this is for us. And then she's like, well, we don't need the show. Actually, it's fine. And I was like, okay, like I felt like that was just a fumble right at the end. I was like, what kind of resolution is this? I liked how the book ended. And I like how Gina had the talk with her mom and Natasha, with her sister, and how they kind of like, you know, they kind of like assuaged her fears and gave her that push that she needed to, like, you know, or at least to talk through it. Like, if you think that this is a reason why you shouldn't do this, then don't think that. But with Stone, it really was just like, well, you don't have to do this anymore. Whoopee, it's over. And I
mean, I do think that he would have made it happen. Like he was mentally already like working to figure out a solution, but then he didn't have to because things like got resolved easily. But I kind of would have wanted to see what he would have done. Like he was getting ready to like talk to them and be like, Mira, I'm sorry, but we can't do this anymore. And so I feel like I got cheated out of that like conversation. Pero like, you know what I mean? I think it would have happened either way. Like I don't think the ending would have been affected either way. Pero I wish it would have gone like that path.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. I feel cheated out of like this kind of like important conversation I feel like he could have had with his family about how they put that all on him and how their priorities as a family didn't align with him. And it was like, it's super unfair to have to put someone's life on pause that way. And then
I did like the whole like this whole thing is fake kind of thing, because I feel like that happens so often. Like I was reading about it and I kept thinking about, what was that family, the Duggars? Was that show where they were like all
the Mormons?
Yeah. And then it like came out that like, pero this is really like, they're not like self-sufficient on like this. I'm like, bueno, obviamente, like I never believed that like these 8 people were like eating off of their garden alone. You know what I mean? I remember it being in like all the magazines and everyone was like, oh, we've been lied to. And also like, these girls are not virgins. And also like, you know what I mean? So I can see like, I believe that was a real fear for the family, you know, the getting their truth plastered everywhere.
Yeah, but the person who was going to blow the whistle on them was Lauren. And I'm like, how much clout does this like failed Olympian have in like...
And also, they were living in an inn. It's not even like they were living in a trailer hidden in the wilderness near where this like HQ was. They were in town having breakfast in the diner. Like, they weren't being disrespectful.
La gente de ese pueblo, they're all good people. They would have never, ellos no dicen choteado. They're all like sweet, kind Alaskan people. That's the impression I got.
The oil reservoir, the oil reservoir has emptied. Some of us are selling out. Some of us because we have children to put through college.
Yes.
I would have sold them out so fast. I've been like, here's some coordinates. Go to this hotel room. Go to room 22B. You're gonna find something real interesting.
Oh, oof. Well.
And then my last question was, how did you guys feel about the like we can have it all ending where fucking Stone is like walking the runway? No, you're not. You're a fucking you are a linebacker. No one is hiring you to model for fucking Wilhelmina. Let's be real.
Honestly, I believe that more than I did the fact that like Gina got this like mega part that was gonna make her millions without even auditioning. Like
the Jennifer Lopez musical?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
no, I thought it was gonna be like the Rita Moreno. Like that's who I was picturing. It was like the Jennifer Lopez.
It's the Jennifer Lopez musical.
Okay, got it.
She was a backup dancer, and then she started singing, and then she became an actress, and she goes by Melly. J-Lo.
You know what? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Why did I think?
I wanted them to have it all. I was happy with the ending because it was the kind of like cheesy ending that I thought fit perfectly with this book. But I could have seen Stone modeling before I could have seen her doing that, because honestly, people go on these dancing shows and then like everybody wants them for like all of these things. Like I could have seen some random brand asking him to do modeling and some other random like machete brand being like, hey, show how this is the best one to cut trees. You know what I mean?
Like I could see him modeling like hiking boots and axes.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
So, like, but I could have seen him doing all of that stuff, becoming an Instagram influencer, but like one who doesn't want to be an influencer, but was just like had it thrust upon him.
No, I see what you're saying. I definitely think like maybe like not a catalog model, but you know, like definitely like someone who does like editorials and stuff and models clothes, but whatever. By that point in the book, I was like, okay, I'm glad it's over. Like I wasn't like rushing.
I could have seen him being, you know, one of those companies that are like very like gender fluid on the runway, so they like drape him in something like silky whatever, and then his like abs are just some muscle like poking through. It's like that's what I was picturing. It's like very like out
Meanwhile, Gina's like, don't be fooled by the racks that I got. I'm still Melly from the block.
Melly from the block. No.
Melly with her like 3 divorces. I'm like, the more I'm reading it, the more I'm like, J-Lo's gonna sue you. Like you're gonna get. There's too much.
J-Lo had a dance movie with Richard Gere, but I don't remember what it's called.
Hold on. I
feel like I saw that.
Everyone who had TBS saw that movie. Like everyone who had like cable.
Shall We Dance? And it's a remake of like a Korean movie, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Ouch.
That movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I guess
Richard Gere can get it.
Yeah. You know who I did wish had stuck around longer in the show? The elf actress, the older one.
The older actress.
Like, I hurt my knee and now I can't dance or something. And I was like, boo, yeah. I liked her.
I want to watch a dance movie.
I feel like she faked it too, though. I feel like the lady who was in those series like saw that they were gonna get eliminated and was like, "Fuck it, he's a fan of mine." Oh, my ankle.
Yes, I definitely got those vibes that she fell on the sword for him, and I was like, "Dang, I really like her." I'm sad she's like bowing out of this, like at this point. But I mean, I guess it had to happen. It couldn't be Lauren right at the beginning, because then who was gonna feel Stone's ass?
Jackson.
Yeah. Bueno.
So that's all the questions I have, you guys.
Well, excellent questions, ladies. Excellent discussion. I'm shook. I'm still like, whoa, that was J-Lo. Thanks for sticking out the episode. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. We'll see you on the next hangout. Let's say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. No dijo adiós. No, se frizó.
Bye.
Thank you for hanging out with us. You can support Only Lovers Book Club by dropping some change in our tip jar and buying some books with our bookshop link. You can find us on Instagram at Only Lovers Book Club, and from there, find our individual accounts and projects. Feel free to favorite or rate us if that's an option for you, but always make sure to like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode.